In this video, we dive into a gripping story that blends drama, mystery, and deep emotions. In this tale, a girl falls in love with her kidnapper. Get ready for a story that explores how unexpected feelings can develop in the most unusual circumstances. News is shown at the beginning of the story, where a news reporter is reporting about a 14-year-old girl going missing. On the other hand, the condition of the mother and father in the girl's house had become very bad because of the kidnapping of their daughter. But then we are shown the same kidnapped girl, Sochi, who is sitting with the kidnapper in the kidnapper's house and watching the news of her kidnapping. She interacts with the kidnapper in a way that doesn't make it look like she was kidnapped. Watching the news, she says to the kidnapper, "You keep me hidden so that no one can find me." Hearing this, her kidnapper, Oni, is also stunned. Sochi starts telling us about herself. She studies in middle school, she is very good in studies, but despite this, her mother beats her every day on some issue or the other. Despite seeing everything, her father does not say anything. Sochi's mother was crying a lot because of her disappearance. Seeing this in the news, Sochi says to Oni, "Look, my mother does acting very well." Oni is surprised again after hearing this. Oni was about to go to the supermarket. Before leaving, he asks Sochi if she wants anything from outside. For the first time, someone was asking about her wishes. Sochi becomes very happy at this and writes down the names of all her favorite things, giving a list to Oni. He didn't have enough money to meet Sochi's needs, but still, he didn't say much to Sochi and went out to the supermarket. Here, Sochi, alone at home, keeps thinking about Oni. From a scene in the past, we come to know that Sochi was about to commit suicide because she was fed up with her parents, but at the right time, Oni comes and stops her. After this, she starts living with Oni. Oni is a very good boy. He takes very good care of Sochi, which Sochi's parents could never do. The way Oni used to take care of her and listen to her made Sochi feel that maybe Oni liked her, and now she too had started liking him. While returning from the supermarket, the police catch Oni and start checking his bag. There was nothing suspicious in his bag, so the police let him go. After this, he returns home and starts cooking Sochi's favorite food. Seeing him doing this, Sochi hugs him from behind. She becomes a little emotional after seeing Oni cooking, because she had never seen her mother preparing her favorite food at home. Oni notices that Sochi's hair was not cut properly. In some places, it was short, and in others, it was long. When asked the reason for this, Sochi tells him that some girls in school bully her a lot, and they are the ones who cut her hair like this. Hearing this, Oni gives Sochi a haircut himself. After this, both of them sit together and eat food. For the first time, someone had served food normally to Sochi. Otherwise, at home, her mother used to give her food on the floor. Despite having parents, Sochi was completely alone in her life. Similarly, Oni was also completely alone, which is why he understood Sochi's pain very well. While roaming in the house, Sochi enters a room where there are only Sochi's pictures all around. Seeing this makes her even more sure that he likes her. Otherwise, why would anyone keep so many pictures of one person? Sochi is feeling very happy with all these things. She takes selfies in front of all those photos and also takes photos with Oni, so these memories will remain with her for her whole life. The next day, Sochi insists on going on a date with Oni, but he refuses her because people will recognize her as soon as she comes out. But Sochi doesn't listen to anything and starts insisting on going out, due to which Oni is forced to agree to her request. He makes Sochi wear his childhood clothes and then takes her out dressed like a boy. On the other hand, police go to Sochi's house to interrogate her. Due to the words of Sochi's mother, police start getting suspicious about her. Oni and Sochi have a lot of fun together. While living with Oni, Sochi is learning to live again. She tells Oni that she wants to live with him like this for the rest of her life. Maybe Oni is not as rich as her parents, but as much as he can keep her happy with less money, her parents cannot do the same. Hearing her words, Oni says, "This is not possible, Sochi. You will have to return home one day. You cannot live like this with me for the whole life." Hearing this, Sochi starts remembering things from the past, how her mother used to beat her, how she was bullied in school too. Even a teacher in school used to molest her. Sochi did not want to return to that life again. It would be better for her to die than to live that life once more. Thinking this, she leaves Oni's hand and goes to jump down from there. But just in time, Oni catches her and promises her that he will take her somewhere else and will always be with her. Hearing this, Sochi grabs both his hands. Oni somehow pulls her up and places his hand on her forehead, saying, "Please don't do anything like this in the future." A few days later, a man wearing a mask posts a video online, in which he claims that he has kidnapped Sochi. Seeing this, both Oni and Sochi get surprised. On the other hand, the police also watch this video, but they still have doubts about Sochi's mother. Her schoolmates had made a video for Sochi, appealing to the police to find her as soon as possible. Seeing this, Oni says to Sochi, "You still have time. If you want, you can return to your home." Hearing this, Sochi gets angry and starts crying. Oni consoles her and explains that he was just joking. On the next scene, he was burning his own ID card. When asked the reason for this, he tells her that he changes his identity every month, and if Sochi stays with him, she will have to do the same. Sochi doesn't care about all this, because it is much better than the condition she was in at home. She just wanted to stay with Oni. The masked person uploads another video. This time he says, "Meet me in that dark room." Hearing this, Sochi remembers that there was a teacher in school who used to call her to a dark room and used to molest her. She realizes that the masked person is none other than the teacher, which scares her. Oni was about to go out to buy some things. Sochi was sleeping, so he went out alone. When he returned home, he saw that the police were standing outside his house. They wanted to search his house. Seeing this, he opened the door in fear, and what he saw as soon as he opened it blew his mind. Sochi was not there, and her photographs were also missing. Since police found nothing, so they left. After they left, Oni started searching for Sochi. On the other hand, the officer who was handling this case went to Sochi's house to investigate, because they still felt that Sochi's mother probably used to torture her. But they don't find anything there. That pervert teacher was sitting in a room and waiting for Sochi. After some time Sochi comes, seeing whom he jumps on her, and start touching her here and there. On the other hand, Oni sees in the footage that Sochi has removed all the photos from there, and she has gone out somewhere with a knife. Seeing this, he becomes worried for Sochi and starts wondering where she might go. Then he remembers that she was very scared this morning after watching the video of that masked man. From this he understands that Sochi might have gone to kill him, so he quickly starts tracking location of that man. Sankai had come there to kill teacher, so as soon as teacher came near her, she took out the knife from her bag and attacked him. Seeing this, teacher moves back and starts speaking to Sochi in a cryptic voice. "Sochi, why are you doing this to me? I like you very much." Saying this, he attacks Sochi and takes the knife from her hand and throws it down. After this, he starts forcing himself on Sochi. Now there was nothing she could do, which made her cry. Just then someone knocks on the door, and a boy wearing a mask comes in. Seeing him, she realizes that he is Oni, which gives her courage. As soon as he entered the room, he began hitting teacher. Teacher was shocked, asked, "Why are you hitting me so much?" Oni replied, "I have all the videos of your misdeeds. I gave them to the police before coming here. People will come to arrest you soon." Somehow, Oni had hacked the teacher's laptop. That's where he learned the teacher's true nature. He beats the teacher, takes Sochi, and leaves. Shortly after, the police arrive and arrest the teacher, believing him to be a kidnapper. On the way, Oni gets very angry at Sochi for doing such risky things without informing him. Sochi doesn't seem to mind his remarks and actually finds him likable. Oni takes her to a marriage hall that has been closed for many years and where no one comes anymore. There, Sochi asks Oni why there were so many pictures of her in his house and if he loves her. Oni replied, "I knew everything about you, how you were bullied in school and tortured at home. After my brother died, my situation became similar to yours. That's why I followed you and took your pictures, to protect you. It was because of this that I was able to save you that day. I don't love you, I just want you to always be safe and happy." Hearing this, Sochi felt deeply hurt, especially since she had started to develop feelings for Oni. Meanwhile, Sochi's father handed her mother the divorce papers and said, "I deeply regret not speaking up when you were torturing Sochi. If I had stood up for her back then, she would still be with us today. I now understand that Sochi must have left home out of frustration." Sochi's mother listened quietly to everything but refused to sign divorce papers. Police, after questioning teacher, realized he was not the kidnapper and they resumed their search for Sochi. Back at the marriage hall, Sochi, crying, asks Oni, "If you don't love me, why do you care so much?" Oni is speechless. Sochi continues, "I know you like me. Even if you don't, that's okay. No matter what happens, I want to spend my whole life with you." She asks Oni to marry her. To make her happy, Oni puts on her favorite toy ring. They promise to always take care of each other. Soon after, the hall's owner arrives, sees them, and calls police. Police quickly set out to arrest both of them. As soon as the police arrive, Oni grabs Sochi and they run away. However, the police manage to find a picture of them. They escape to their home, but the police are already there, so they have to leave again. After that, Oni takes Sochi to another city and rents a small room by the beach, which Sochi loves. They create a little world of their own there. Oni takes Sochi to the beach, and she is very happy with him. They spend a few days like this. One day, Oni goes to the market to buy something, and Sochi, feeling bored alone, decides to take a walk on the beach. There, she meets a girl named Moki. Sochi realizes that Moki is also tortured by her family. Moki, seeing Sochi, immediately says, "You've been away from home for 3 or 4 months. Don't you miss your parents?" How Moki knew all this is something Sochi doesn't think about, and she starts talking with Moki. As they talked, Sochi found it easier to share her feelings with Moki than with Oni, even though Oni was with her. As time went on, Sochi and Moki developed a close bond. Sochi mentioned that she was living with her boyfriend. Moki, eager to meet Oni, insisted on visiting him. Although Sochi usually wouldn't bring anyone home without asking Oni, she finally agreed to Moki's requests and took her to their place. When Oni returned, Sochi introduced him to Moki, but Oni showed no reaction to her. The next morning, Sochi sees on the news that a child near their house has killed his parents because they used to beat him. Sochi suspects that Moki might be involved and becomes worried. She starts rushing towards that house, and Oni chases after her. When they arrive, Oni somehow manages to get Sochi away from there. He knows that if anyone recognizes her, they could get caught. When they reach home, Oni tells Sochi to stay inside while he goes out to find Moki. As soon as he leaves, Moki arrives. Sochi tells Moki that she heard someone near their house killed his parents. Moki laughs and says, "Did you think I did that? No, you're mistaken. I didn't do anything like that." Hearing this, Sochi feels relieved. Moki tells Sochi to come with her and threatens to call the police to expose Oni if Sochi doesn't go with her. This makes Sochi angry, and they start arguing. Suddenly, during the fight, Moki accidentally falls and dies. Just then, Oni arrives and tries to comfort her, urging her to look down. Surprisingly, there's no one there. Shocked and overwhelmed, Sochi faints. After a while, Sochi regains consciousness. As soon as she opens her eyes, she sees Oni and Moki in front of her. She tries to touch Moki but can't, which confuses her. Seeing Sochi in this state, Oni tells her the truth. He explains that the events around her have affected her so much that she created an imaginary world in her mind where Moki exists. But in reality, Moki is just a part of her imagination. After explaining, Oni tells Sochi to go back home because staying with him is making her condition worse instead of better. Hearing this, Sochi leaves, crying. A little later, Oni follows her. Meanwhile, the teacher sees the news about the couple's death. In the same video, he catches a glimpse of Sochi and immediately sets out to find her. Sochi, feeling sad, goes to the beach. After a while, the teacher arrives there, looking for her. He sees Sochi and starts approaching her in a creepy manner. Seeing this, Sochi gets scared and runs away, but the teacher follows and catches her again. He tells her that she has no future with Oni anyway, so she should come with him. Sochi refuses to go anywhere with him. The teacher then takes out a knife from his bag and attacks her, but Oni arrives just in time and steps in to protect her. In the process, Oni gets injured. Despite his injury, he fights the teacher to save Sochi. During the struggle, the knife accidentally plunges into the teacher's stomach, killing him instantly. A little later, the police arrive, having tracked down Sochi's location. As soon as they arrive, Oni grabs Sochi, and they manage to escape once again. In the evening, Sochi is tending to Oni's wound when he asks her, "Will you marry me?" Tears of joy well up in Sochi's eyes. Overwhelmed with emotion, she smiles and immediately says, "Yes, I will." The next day, Oni takes Sochi to the city. On the way, Oni is silently thinking, "Sochi, you might never forgive me for what I'm about to do, but I have to do this for your sake." With this thought, he takes Sochi to her home. In front of Sochi's parents, Oni confesses his crime, admitting that he kidnapped Sochi. He adds that he wouldn't have done it if they hadn't been torturing her. Hearing this, Sochi's parents deny everything and say, "We never did anything like that." At that moment, Oni shows them the photos he had taken, which show bruises and wounds all over Sochi's body. He says, "I knew you wouldn't admit it easily, so I brought proof." Looking at the photos, Sochi's father says, "We are very rich, you can't do anything to us." Her mother cruelly adds, "She deserved every bit of it. And I'll do it again. What can you do?" Hearing this, Sochi starts crying out of fear and thinks to herself, "Why did Oni bring me here?" After hearing her parents' cruel words, Oni takes out his phone and shows it to Sochi. He says, "I recorded everything. Let's go, and we'll report this to the police." Oni grabs Sochi's hand and starts to lead her away. Just then, Sochi's mother attacks with a knife, trying to hurt her. But Oni steps in to protect her, getting injured in the process. At that moment, the police arrive. Oni had already informed them about everything, so they were able to arrest Sochi's parents right away. Seeing Oni in such a bad state, Sochi grabs him and starts crying. Oni gently places his hand on her forehead and says, "Don't cry, Sochi. I love you so much. Please forgive me. I couldn't stay with you." With these words, Oni passes away. The story shifts forward a few years. Sochi is now grown up, beautifully dressed, and getting married in a church, where she marries Oni. The scene changes to a police officer standing next to Sochi's lifeless body, revealing that both Sochi and Oni are no longer alive in this world. In the afterlife, they are together once more. And so, this beautiful story comes to an end. That's all for today's video. See you in the next.